So today it's a different thing. I'm going to talk about how to become a professionally registered engineer, or what is this professional registration. For those of you who are not familiar with this term professional registration, this is what you see in some of the LinkedIn profiles right after their name. You can see SEAng, IEng or EngTech. So in this video, I'm going to break it down in simple chunks so anyone who's aspiring to become an engineer or who's already in their engineering career who's looking to upskill themselves. So without further ado, let's get to the video. If you're new to my channel, welcome on board. My name is Dinwanga and I'm an aeronautical engineer and also a professionally registered engineer at an incorporated level. You would know what this means in a bit. Now this channel is for anyone who loves aviation, someone like me. So if you're in aviation and if you want to get to the next level of your career, I'm here to help you. Or if you're an aspiring student who wants to be in the aviation industry, I'll help you find your passion and take you to that next level. So subscribe to my channel and join with this mission. So some of you might be wondering, what is professional registration? And if you're already an engineer, what value does this bring to me? Those are all valid questions. And I'll give you two examples from my own experience why this professional registration would be valuable to you. So before moving forward, I will be only discussing the framework of the Royal Aeronautical Society. However, if you are a mechanical trade or an electrical trade, you do have other institutions such as Institute of Mechanical Engineers or IET, where you can get the same professional registrations. The reason that I am with Royal Aeronautical Society is because my experience and qualifications are in aeronautical engineering. And I find this as a benefit as well. If you're aligning with your current trade, you can get many resources out of it. But that doesn't mean if you are a mechanical trade, you can't become a registered engineer at Royal Aeronautical Society. And if you're an aeronautical engineer, that does not restrict you from becoming a registered engineer with IEng or Institute of Mechanical Engineers. But personally speaking, I would align myself to my trade. Let's go to our previous question. Why should someone be professionally registered? Number one is career advancement. Now, in my company, if you have IEng or SEAng, you can hold a certain level of airworthiness authority. Now, this obviously comes with extra pay. So, it will help you to move forward in your career. Or else to go up the ladder. Now that's one of the main benefits of having a professional registration. I mean, who wouldn't love to advance in their careers? So number two is credibility. Let's take a scenario. Let's just say you are applying for a job. And when you apply for a job, you write a CV. And in this CV, you write your experience, your qualification, and it's just your word against your CV. Now you give this CV to your interviewer. I'm not saying you're lying, but you can put whatever you want in that CV. It doesn't give you any credibility. It's your word against what's in there. So having a professional registration just show, or it gives that extra layer of credibility, saying that his or her experience has been checked and assessed by someone, and this person is a credible or a competent engineer. So it gives that extra level of credibility. So now having an EngTech, IEng or a SEAng will show this interviewer, this person who is in front of me is a competent engineer. So that's another benefit. And thirdly, there were a number of comments on my Sinhala video which I do for Sri Lankan students. I did a similar video and most of the comments were, if you have professional registration, it will help you to become a good engineering consultant. And I can't talk more about it because I'm not familiar with consultation. If you are an engineering consultant with a professional registrations, please drop them down in the comment section and I will pin that comment so everybody can learn why a professional registration would be helpful for an engineering consultant. So far, you have been listening to me stating these different terminologies such as IEng, CEng, EngTech. Now let's just see one by one what do they mean. So EngTech is engineering technician status. IEng is incorporated engineer status. CEng is chartered engineer status. Now, before diving into individual requirements, let me start with some of the common requirements you need to have to apply to each of these statuses. Number one is you need to have a membership. Now, we are talking about Royal Aeronautical Society. Royal Aeronautical Society has different memberships that you can apply to. Now, these are paid memberships where you have to pay a small fee annually. So now I'm gonna leave all the financial related information in the description because I don't want to bring numbers into this video. So yeah, a membership is a must. Think of it as an investment because you are investing on your future. You are investing on your career advancement. You are investing on your credibility. So it is actually an investment. Now, membership aside, let's look at some of the common documents required to submit for an application. Number one is curriculum vitae or a resume. Now, please tailor-made this resume to Royal Aeronautical Society with objective clearly stating that you are applying for a professional registration, or if you know what professional registration you are applying to, put I'm applying to become a CEng or IEng or EngTech. Because one of the mistakes that junior engineers do is they pick a CV from their old stock of CVs and they just submit with the application. Now when you read that CV, it is addressed to a different company, to a different role. So don't be like that. Put some effort and show them that you really want this professional registration. So a CV is a good way to show your experience, a good way to show that this is something you really want. Number two is development action plan. Now for EngTech or engineering technician professional registrations, you do not need this. But for IEng and CEng, this is part and parcel of your application process. In a nutshell, this asks what are your short-term goals, what are your long-term goals, and how are you planning to achieve them. Number three is qualifying report. Now this is the single most important document in this application process. Now this document is extracted from something called UK spec. Now UK spec document is given by the Engineering Council of UK. Now it has all the competencies that you need to fulfill to apply to either of these statuses. Now different statuses have different level of competencies you need to write. I'll explain that in a bit. Now this UK spec document is used by Royal Aeronautical Society, IET and also Institute of Mechanical Engineers. Now they use this to prepare this qualifying report so you can write down your experience against these competencies. I'll go into competencies in a bit. Number four is account of a technical task. Now you can select any engineering task you did. However, my advice is select a task with a certain depth. What do I mean by a certain depth? Select a task that you can show your thinking ability, your problem solving ability, and how you discovered a problem and what actions you took to find the solutions to that problem and the decision you made and how that decision impacted the outcome of the task. So if you have a task like this, I think that, keep it simple, but also make sure that it hits all the engineering competencies. The fifth is you have to submit all the copies of your certificates that you mentioned in your application form. Lastly, you need to provide a referee with your application process. Now, a referee or a sponsor. A referee is someone with the same level of professional registration that you are applying to. For example, if you are applying for an EngTech then your referee needs to be someone Eng Tech level or above. If you are applying for IEng, your referee needs to be IEng level or above. If you are applying for CEng, your referee should be at CEng level. Understood? Now let's move into individual professional registration and let's see what requirements do we need. First one on the list is Eng Tech or engineering technician. Now this is for someone who have graduated from a university or someone who's completed or doing an apprenticeship scheme. With regards to educational qualification, an HNC would be the minimum requirement, but this is not mandatory. You can also show some experience and apply for this registration. Now, there is something called PRI, which is peer review interview. For Eng Tech level, you do not have a peer review interview. However, you need to have a membership at an associated level. So these are the only requirements you need to apply for an Eng Tech. Second one is incorporated engineer or an IEng, someone similar to me. So this person or this engineer needs to have some level of engineering experience, at least 2 to 3 years, and then they should be able to prove their competence on the PRI or the peer review interview. Educational qualification wise, you need to have a bachelor's degree or an HND. Now again, this is not mandatory. If you have a lot of experience, you can bypass the academic route. But if you have a bachelor's degree with some experience, you can apply to become an incorporated engineer. So in order to become an incorporated engineer, you need the membership of at least associate member or higher. Chartered engineer or CEng, this is the highest level out of the 3. Now, academic wise, you need to have a master's degree. Again, if you have a lot of experience, you do not need a master's degree. You can apply for CEng. You need to demonstrate your competence on a PRI, which is a peer review interview. And you need to at least have a membership of member level or above. So I haven't applied for a CEng level personally, so I don't know what to expect in the PRI or the personal review interview. However, if you can answer these questions, you are ready to apply for a CEng. The questions are, do you develop new or existing technology? Or do you problem solve? Or do you make a key contribution to your business success through innovation, creativity, and change? Do you promote advanced design or design methods? Do you develop better production techniques, marketing, or construction concepts? Do you pioneer technology or engineering services and management methods? Now, if you can answer these questions confidently, I think you are ready to apply for your CEng. Now let's see how to apply for a professional registration with Royal Aeronautical Society. First things first, you need to have a membership. So call them up or send them an email and get yourself a membership. Make sure your membership aligns with your professional registration, because as I mentioned, different registrations have different membership level, or different registration requires different membership levels. Now let's look into the application process. The main thing is QR or the qualifying report. Now remember I mentioned about UK specs. Now you are seeing a copy of this UK specs. Now as you can see, you need to match your experience to these competencies. Now what I did was I took a spreadsheet, broke it down to 2 columns, and then on one side I put down all the competencies in the qualifying report, and on the other side of the column I started matching them with my experience. This way, when you complete all of those competencies, you know now you can transfer it to your qualifying report. Now make sure when you complete this qualifying report, you have drumbeat meetings with your referee and show it to them and get feedback and ask them, is it good enough or do I need to add something? Because they will give you good feedback as they have gone through the process. And this is the person that's going to stand next to you in your application process as a referee. So it's vital you have a mutual agreement that this qualifying report is good to go. And before starting any of these things, read and understand the UK specs. That's like your Bible. That's what you need to comply with. So make sure you read and understand every little detail in the UK specs. If I am to summarize the UK specs have 5 different competencies. So number 1, or as they mention in the document, section A, should focus on how you have enhanced your underpinning theoretical knowledge. This is about all the qualifications that you have gained. Just give evidence what qualifications you have gained and what have you learned out of them. Section B is about applying theoretical competence into specific details. And section C involves management, responsibility and leadership. So you need to give evidence. If you have mentored someone, you can write those details here. And also your leadership skills, you need to prove with your experience. Standard E is personal and professional commitment. You need to demonstrate a personal commitment to professional standards. And once you have all these documents completed, and then you apply for a position, make sure you have the application dates ready so you don't overrun the application dates. Make sure you send them an email and ask when is the next application date for these applications. Now you need to apply through your portal, which means you log into your Royal Aeronautical Society and then you can apply from there. And once the application is submitted, after a while they'll send you an email saying whether you will progress to PRI or professional review interview or not. And if you get progress to PRI or professional review interview, congratulations, you are 80% there. Now the last thing you need to do is be prepared for this interview. Now I know when someone says you got an interview, it is bone chilling. Nobody likes to go to an interview and everybody's nervous, but think of it this way. Let's change our mindset. This is engineers talking to another engineer. Don't feel pressured. Make yourself comfortable. They're asking questions from your qualifying report, so you should know whatever you put into the qualifying report. You should know them because you have done them. So just think of it as a normal conversation that you have with another engineering peer. And during my interview, I was nervous as well. However, the interviewers made sure that I was comfortable and relaxed. And we started as a conversation. It did not feel like an interview. It felt like a conversation about my engineering career. So do not lie in your qualifying report. Just put whatever you have done. You have been progressed to PRI means they know you are competent enough to be a professional engineer. They just want to make sure that it is you who have completed this qualifying report and you know about your experience. So don't feel stressed. Just think of it as, okay, I'm going to have a nice conversation with other engineers. So good luck in your application. Now if you need help in your application process, I can help you through it, and I can help you with mock interviews and also the application process. I am an incorporated engineer, so I can help anyone who's applying for EngTech and incorporated engineers level. Drop a comment or send me an email. My email is in the description, and yeah, we can have a chat and see how we can get you ready for your next professional registration. Something I did was I wrote down all my questions in the PRI or the professional review interview. And if you need a video discussing these questions, drop PRI in the comment section below and I'll see how many people are interested and I'll get another video. And thank you very much for watching this video. I'll come back with another video next week. Until then, keep fixing.